the school committee allowed members to attend in person today. For the first time since the pandemic began in March, we did get an email. In accordance with the current social distancing guidelines and the current layout of the school committee chambers, up to 7 members of the committee may be physically present. Face masks and coverings are required. Those members who would like to participate remotely will be provided conference call information prior to the meeting. So I opted to stay home. I think it's a safe option. I think it's entirely unnecessary to have a school committee meeting in person when we have access to technology to give us Zoom calls that, while flawed, kept us safe, and we can work on improving them. We can work on educating other members who may be less literate with the technology. So having people come in, I understand. As the mayor said, yeah, the CDC may allow for that. But just because it allows for that, does that mean we have to? I don't think it does, in my opinion. I believe that there's a lot of things in the city that could have been open, but we shut down. We canceled or we discouraged people from attending. There's no discouragement from attending here. What if 8 members showed up from the school committee tonight? They didn't. But what if 8 members showed up tonight? Would they have to kick one out? Would it be first come, first serve in that situation? That's not the way to do things. If you can't have room for every member to attend, you shouldn't be allowed to have a meeting at all. That's simple. Rather than when someone speaks, which happened tonight, where the camera's panned on a speakerphone with a microphone above it to listen to what I have to say. And there has to be a way where our next meeting we can have a feed of the school committee meeting, say here on the screen, and then here on the screen we have the virtual people, the Zoom, you can call them the virtual people, the Zoom members that are participating virtually. Face masks and coverings are required, right? Required. Now, does that say you have to bring them, but you don't have to wear them once you're at your seat? No, it says they're required. We had members of the on the school committee tonight in person speaking without a mask on. The mask was on their desk, the mask was in their hand, the mask was everywhere but where it's supposed to be. And you're telling me that I'm overreacting for allowing people in person just because you don't want to go through the trouble of picking up a keyboard and learning how to do things that we're teaching 5th graders to do and things that our teachers are forced to do for their job. You know, are there teachers out there that didn't want to learn Zoom during the school year and they said, oh, well, you know what, I'll just go in person. Me and my class will go in person. No, they didn't have that option. So why do we? Why do I have that option? Say a spike, God forbid a spike happened. And one of these people involved, God forbid, were sick. Where's the rationale to say, well, we have to have a meeting in person? You didn't have to have a meeting in person. Just because it's easier to meet in person doesn't mean that's the feasible thing to do. Easy to have an air conditioner in every school. And for years we didn't have it. Why? Because there are a million reasons why. Now we finally are. Why was there no playground at Stefanik? There were a million reasons why before. Now there is one. Why? Because what things were brought up. You know, concerns were vocalized. What benefit is there to having these people be able to meet in person? And then you turn around and you tell the teachers, oh, well, in your spare time before the school year, you stay at home. You wear a mask. No matter what, you wear a mask. But then the school committee, they watch on TV, and we don't have to follow those rules. We don't have to wear a mask, apparently. We don't have to wear a mask if we're standing up and not at a desk, because apparently germs don't spread if you're sitting down. I hope we're not forcing our meetings to be in person again so that teachers feel compelled to have to return in person in the fall if we decide to do that. There's a big argument I heard was, how are people on a Zoom meeting deciding that teachers have to go back in person in the fall? And I agree with that. I would never vote for teachers to go back in the fall as long as I feel that I should be on a Zoom call for my meetings. People rather risk their health and be in person than learn how to set up a webcam and learn how to click a mute button when you're not addressing the committee. A lot of being in person is a publicity stunt, but when I see an in-person meeting that stresses, like I read in the email, you have to wear a mask, and someone like our mayor, our leader, someone that a lot of people look to for decisions, sitting at a desk, not wearing a mask, having it in his hands or on top of, the desk, what's the point of that? Why couldn't you just be on a Zoom call if you really didn't want to wear a mask in person? How come you felt like getting your point across on television was better? And if that's what you felt, fine. Then how come people like me who wanted to stay home were forced to only participate via audio and not via visual like we have been with Zoom calls? It seems a little double standard in my opinion. We're accommodating the people who want to be in person, and we're slowly phasing out the people who want to continue being virtually participant. Right now, I don't feel safe sending teachers and students back. I don't feel safe going to bed at night knowing that parents are sending their kids on a bus where they have to rely on another adult to make sure they socially distance, or rely on another adult to make sure they wash their hands the right way, or don't get too close to a friend or touch a friend. The safe way is always the best way in this scenario. Yes, there's a lot of concerns teachers have. They want the Zoom meetings and remote learning to be better. That's what we need to spend time on, working on that. We don't need to spend time politicizing health issues and politicizing, oh, let's be in person for a meeting because it makes me feel good, or I don't have to figure out why my connection's making it where I'm lagging. Those are issues that we should be taking on. We shouldn't be putting more issues on the teachers to make ourselves feel better. We shouldn't be bad examples being in person at a meeting when you can be at home. There were a lot of people there tonight that wore masks the right way, wore them correctly, didn't take them off to talk, which I've seen, which seems so brain dead to me. The Matt Francis, the Rebecca Bouchard, the superintendent, Lynn Clark. They work in that building every day. They're there anyway. So for them to go home just to socially distance may help, but they're there anyway. That's why the school committee officials should stay home. We're not there all day. Let the people who are there all day have the convenience of being in or out on it. We can stay home. There's no excuse for school committee members to have to go in. If there's a school committee member watching this that went tonight, and you feel like I'm, attacking you in a way or criticizing you, and you don't know how to work a Zoom call, reach out to me. Reach out to Andrew Vernon. Reach out to the IT department. We will help you. We had a joint meeting with the city council. There was more than enough city councilors that didn't know what they were doing or weren't doing it correctly, and that definitely need the help and education on it. Reach out to me. Reach out to your IT department. Get some education on it. Stop making a situation of a pandemic worse because you don't want to take the extra 10 minutes to learn this stuff. It's good to learn anyway. If the pandemic ended tomorrow, it's so good to have that technological knowledge. We have to double down on technology. That's simple. We can't be afraid of it. We can't have meetings in person because some people don't have the patience or the time to learn Zoom and all that. You have to. It's part of the job. You have to adapt for your constituency. To have people in person just because you want to bypass that is wrong.